Hey guys, Spooky Squid here. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video, we are doing a ranking. So we'll talk about my 10 favorite horror movies of 2020. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, my friends, let's talk about horror. I'm gonna do a recap of pretty much all the horror movies I've watched from this year so far. There's about 10 or 11 of them. I will be doing kind of like a ranking, so just to let you know that these are my opinions, so don't flame me in the comments if I put your favorite horror movie down in the number 10 spot. It's just a movie. Opinions differ, so let's get started. And just as a reminder, I will be linking all the movies I mentioned down below, tell you where you can watch them, and I will also be linking all the makeup that I use in the video down in the comments below. So the worst horror movie that came out this year that I've seen, in my opinion, is La Llorona. I don't even know what that was supposed to be. In my opinion, it was just a cash grab because they figured people would want to see it since it's like in the same world as The Conjuring and all the Annabelle movies and stuff, but they didn't do a very good job of like getting you into the lore and into the story. It was very like, it felt very bland despite that it's a horror movie, and I think that they could have done a good job with like the lore, but they just completely missed the mark. Everything that happened in the movie was really predictable. I don't think they picked the best actors. Like, I like Raymond Cruz in Breaking Bad. Like, he does a great Tuco, but he just didn't work for this movie because he was trying to be like almost like not really the paternal figure, but he was supposed to be some kind of like protective, like almost paternal figure, and it just did not work at all. And the only scares in the movie are jump scares, and like even the atmosphere was just like very Hollywood-esque, like just ugh. So that's why, in my opinion, it deserves number 10. So number 9. And it really saddens me to put it so low because I was expecting so much more for this movie. That would be The Turning. I've read the book, Turn the Screw, which is what the movie is supposed to be based on, but of course they did some like changes. So you start watching the movie and you feel like it's a slow burn, like things are constantly building up for something to happen. And not that like nothing really happens, but don't really understand what the, like, I don't understand what they were trying to do with the ending. It's very confusing. They made like 2 endings, so it's like neither of them were really like good endings. They were just like, oh, we need an ending for this movie. Let's just put this. And I don't know, overall it was very disappointing because the whole point of the movie is like you expect something like ghosts or something to happen and like, you know, scary stuff to happen, but nothing really happens. And it's just like, it's one of those movies where you're supposed to question like the main character's sanity, but it's done in a really, really bad way. I like movies that make you question your sanity because, like, I already question my sanity on a day-to-day basis. I was excited for this movie, and it was just like, I don't really recommend it. Well, of course I don't recommend it. It's number 9. Apart from the ending being frustrating, there were a bunch of plot holes that just, you have a bunch of, like, unanswered questions, but you also have, like, a bunch of that's not what happened like earlier, and you're just like wondering if this was written by like 6 different people that didn't really talk to each other. I don't know what happened. And, like, they had good actors in there. I like the kid from Stranger Things. Finn Wolfhard. All right, on to number 8. The Wretched. So, The Wretched has a very, like, witchy vibe, like, kind of Satanist occult, like, they dabble in all of that. And it's very frustrating because it's one of those movies where, like, one of the characters is trying to warn everyone that something's happening, and, you know, no one listens to them, and you're just like, you know, stuff happens at the end, and the main character should be like, I told you so, but instead it's just like, you know, watching everyone die. But it's not really a spoiler, by the way. It was okay. Like, I didn't hate it. It's not like La Llorona or The Turning. Like, I didn't hate the movie. It just kind of not really what I'm... Something was missing. I don't know what it was. And I think part of the reason why I didn't really like the movie was that there's an episode of The Simpsons with, like, a very similar, like, plot line almost, and it just, I kept thinking about that, and it, like, not during the movie, but afterwards I was like, that's why I was, like, not really into it. Like, the plot was really interesting. It was a really, really interesting idea. I don't think I've ever really seen many horror movies that do this, but there were a bunch of, like, unanswered questions at the end. Everyone is really frustrating and dumb in the movie, which, like, I know is, like, the point of, you know, the guy trying to warn everyone and no one listens to him. Like, I get that. I don't know, the execution was meh. Like, the effects were good, the actors were good, and the plot was good, but, like, the story cobbled together was... something was off. It's a good popcorn horror movie, though, if you want to watch something like that, but overall, I don't know. I would just skip it. All right, next movie, number 7. And, like, it's not, like, in the top 5 or anything, but it's still a fun movie. Like, it was entertaining to watch. So it's called The Hunt. It's a fun, like, slaughter action movie. Like it's a fun ride, but one of the reasons why I rated it a little bit lower is because it tried to convey, like, it was trying to be something it's not. Like, had it just, you know, been like an action fun, like, fast-paced, like, slasher, like, gory movie, it would have been fine, but it was trying to, like, give this almost, like, political, I don't know, it was trying to cater too much to, like our generation, and it just, I don't know, the message was just lost. But put that aside, and I rather enjoyed the movie. Like, it was a fun time, and it's weird seeing Dennis from Always Sunny in Philadelphia playing a bad guy. Well, not weird, but it was weird seeing him in this movie. So overall, it's a fun ride. Don't expect a masterpiece, but I liked it. All right, number 6. The Lighthouse. I'm gonna start with things that I really enjoyed about the movie, and then I'm gonna go into, like, later on why I rated it a little bit lower. I really enjoyed the, like, artistic decision of filming it in black and white and 4:3. That was a good choice. That was a really good decision, and it really added to the, like, the creepiness factor of the movie. Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson work really, really well together, and I think they really, really brought, like, the characters to life in this movie. So yeah, it's a real, like, surreal trip. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. It's just a trip. the imagery was like, there were some parts that were just like weird. And I know the point of the movie is to show like, you know, the crushing loneliness and, you know, you kind of lose your sanity because you're alone, like with only one person. So you kind of question everything. It was very bleak, but it almost crossed the line into being like wanting to be too bleak. It kind of became boring at parts. Like, it was supposed to be like really slow and suspenseful, but it was like, I like artsy films, but I didn't like they did it too much. They should have added other weird things happening or like a point to the movie, because you finish the movie and like, you know that he's lost his sanity, but you don't really understand like why he did certain decisions, and I feel like it kind of missed the mark for me. We are getting to like the top 5. So, number 5 would be Underwater for me. This was a treat, and I didn't know what to expect. Like, my fiance was just like, hey, let's watch this movie. It has like Kristen Stewart, and it's about like, you know, her being underwater and trying to escape. And I'm like, okay, sure, that sounds interesting. Really, really good movie. I was pleasantly surprised. Like, I think she's such a good actor. Like, I love her. I love her. It almost has like, there's some scenes that it almost makes me think of Alien, because like, she's such a strong female character that she really did some parallels with Sigourney Weaver in this movie, and I just really appreciated that. And that's another movie where like the loneliness aspect and like the whole, you know, you're not on the surface, like you're not in the world, you're not living in the city with like, you know, being socialized and stuff like that. You're like trapped like underwater in like a research center for who knows how long, and the crushing loneliness just kind of gets to you in that movie. Like, I thought that was really well portrayed. Like, it has some Lovecraftian aspects, which I really appreciate, because I love anything that has to do with Lovecraft. So I think they really did a good job. It wasn't like bam in your face. It was like at the end, like when everything happens, you're like, anyway, watch the movie. I really recommend it. It is a really slow burn, but it's really worth it. Like, kind of like claustrophobic though, so just be aware of that, and very suspenseful. So I really, really like that movie. Number 4, Come to Daddy. So this movie starring Elijah Wood, and he plays like a really, really not awkward, he's just really full of himself and very punchable in this movie. So it does a really good job of being kind of like a person that you want to hate, but at the end you kind of root for. I would say this movie is more like a suspense thriller rather than a horror movie, but I mean, it's in the same cat. It's very weird seeing him in this movie just because he's such a freaking weirdo. And he has to make, like, he's just thrown into the situation where he has to make, like, all these, like, life and death pressing decisions. And it's so fun to watch him struggle. Like, just the character. Yeah. To be fair, like, that character did need to get, like, bumped down a couple pegs. He's very full of himself, but very awkward at the same time. It's a really, really weird movie, and there's a lot of interesting plot twists, so I really enjoyed it. It was a fun time. All right, number 3, Ready or Not. I didn't expect this movie to be so fun. like to make it in the top 3. Like that's not really my type of movie usually, but this was so like just so good. I love the movie so much that like I just looked up, like we just looked up all of the other movies that Samara Weaving was in, and we just decided to watch them all because she was so fun. It advertises itself as a dark comedy, and that's exactly what it is. Like, it doesn't try to be anything else than what it purely is, and it was just like... At first I heard the plot and I was like, how does that work? That they just like kill all the brides that come into the family? That doesn't make any sense, but like you kind of understand what happens, and like... I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but just like if you haven't seen it yet, like it's so fun, and it's like it is scary at times, but like yeah, the main character is so resourceful, and you just end up like rooting for her the entire time, and like it's so good. Like I loved it. It was really unexpected, and I just so good. Like and ever since I watched that, I just haven't really shut up about it. Oh man, there's 2 left. 2! Number 2, Vivarium. I know technically it came out in 2019, but it wasn't available in Canada until 2020, so I kind of count it as like a 2020 movie. We watched it at the beginning of like quarantine when all of this happened, and let me tell you how fucked up that was. Like, I had trouble sleeping because of that movie. I wouldn't say like there's jump scares or it's not like horrifying. It's just, it gets in your head. Like, it's one of those movies that you watch and you're like, whoa. And then like a couple days pass and you're still kind of like processing the movie. Like, I mean, especially like in our situation, you know, you're stuck in a house, you can't really leave, and that's kind of what the premise of that movie is. So it's just very, like, the whole tone of the movie is very, not suspenseful, but it is disturbing. And again, there's some Lovecraftian bits in there that I really appreciated, because yay, Lovecraft. Even the ending is just... I still think about it. That's weird, right? All right, last but yeah, number 1. Remember how I said I loved anything Lovecraftian? Well, number 1 would be Color Out of Space. First off, I love Nicolas Cage. Like, unironically, I love every movie, even Ghost Rider. I don't care. I just love seeing Nick Cage being Nick Cage. It's so entertaining. And this movie, just like, he gets into like this, like you think you've seen Nicolas Cage being crazy, but you haven't seen him crazy until you've seen this movie. Seeing Nick Cage in that role was just mind-boggling. Like, he was made for that role. And it's just, the tone in the movie is so weird. And like, it was just done so beautifully. And like, the colors were just so gorgeous and really, really added to the tone of the movie. And like, it was really one of those movies that messes with your head. Again, like I said, I really like those, and that's definitely one of those. And I think they did a really good job with like turning that short story into a movie. Like, how do you even turn that into a movie? Like, I don't know how they could have done it, but they did it. So yeah, it's such a weird trip. That was my top 10. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video and got some good movie recommendation from this. I will see you next time, and hopefully you do like these types of videos and I can make more of these. I do love talking about movies and I like makeup, so I thought, why not just put both at the same time? I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.